How's it going, guys? What's the word? What's the word? Blessings. Blessings. Peace and blessings to you all. Brother Zachary Stockton Sr., aka Credit Cowboy, popping in with a quick podcast slash webinar for you guys. It's gonna be kind of interesting, man. Who am I? Once again, Brother Zachary Stockton Sr., aka the Credit Cowboy, aka Stockton A Aesthetic. I could go on for days, but this isn't necessarily about me. We're here to get to certain points and start to learn certain things. When most people seek to obtain things in life, the first thing they say is, I need a certain amount of money. Once I get $10,000, I'm going to make this happen. Once I get $5,000, I'm going to make this happen. Once I'm rich, this and that, this and that. And it's almost like people are waiting to something that's called a perfect thing when essentially there isn't a perfect time in life. There isn't a perfect thing. There isn't just that moment that's going to spark and everything's going to be brought into fruition like you think in your dreams. You guys have to understand that you have to work to get certain things. You have to go through certain phases of life and you have to grind. So life isn't necessarily about chasing the money. It's not necessarily about chasing the body. It's about chasing becoming. All of those things do come into play, but that's not instantly what it's about. First and foremost, we all must go through a personal development stage to where we're able to think clear. We're able to make sound decisions in life and move forward with great judgment. So you have school. School basically teaches you the basics, and then you have college. College teaches you enhanced basics, and then you have the school of life that neither one of those essentially prepares you for. So you have information like what I'm gonna show you guys, what I'm gonna explain, what we're gonna go over today, which is things that can help you navigate and start bringing things into fruition, help you properly manifest and bring positivity into your life. So here, Stock and Financials, as you see. So what is Stock and Financials? Stock and Financials is a company that I am the CEO of, and with Stock and Financials, we're bringing finance, soul, and physical health all under one roof. You know, mind, body, soul essentially are the three pillars of life. So that's one thing that my company is diving over into. But one thing that I notice being in the credit business, I have clients who file I've worked on 3 and 4 times within the last 10 years. And I made money each time, but essentially that's not something I want to do is see people continuously come back and spend their money when this is almost like a setup. Yeah, I can give you a 750 credit score in 30 days. That's something I do. But can you manage it? Is that something you can leverage? Is it something you can maintain? And that's where people it end up it end up hurting most people more than it helps because they lack the literacy and the knowledge. So essentially what I'm saying, we must go to a ground level to obtain knowledge, specialized knowledge, and become the best version of ourselves before we could think that we're gonna accumulate money and before we can think that it's gonna actually last and that we could actually prosper from it. Everything is energy and that's all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality you want. match the frequency to every match the frequency to the reality you want. You cannot help but get that reality. It can be no other way. This is not philosophy, this is physics. Everything is energy, and that's all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality that you want, and you will attract the things that are on that frequency. When we hear the word education, we always think that it instantly means to teach something. But the definition of education is something that we're going to get into right after this. Education does not mean teaching people what they do not know. It means teaching them to behave as though they do not behave. So when you're born, you're already blessed with two things that the great architect of the universe gives you to succeed and prosper. You are given the power of choice to choose to have faith, and you are also given purpose. But you must find your purpose, understand your purpose, and walk in your purpose. So education does not mean teaching people what they already know. Neither does it mean teaching you what you do not know. It means to teach you how to behave in a way that you don't behave. So, in a way that you don't behave. So, education is all about bringing out something that's already within you and teaching you to reach your full potential and act as the blessed being that God made you and put you here to be. Education is the Latin word for educo. It means to educe, to develop, or to draw out from within. That means everything comes from within. The teacher is not teaching you math. The teacher is bringing out what's already within your mind that you're not aware that you possess. We think in secret, it comes to pass. Environment is but our looking glass. I'll give you a second and let you ponder on that one. We think in secret, it comes to pass. Environment is but our looking glass. That saying basically means that whatever is going on in your life, whatever you wake up and see on a day-to-day basis, is a direct mirror image of the thoughts and what's going on the inside of your mind. We think in secret. You think in secret. I can't see your thoughts. I don't know what you're thinking. That's in secret. And it comes past. What you think is going to cause you to go out and act. And how you're acting creates results. And now, environment becomes your looking glass. When I'm looking at your life, I'm looking at your mind. I'm looking at the way you think. I'm looking at the way you're structured. The way you're structured. I'm looking at your level of discipline. There's two things we all must know in order to prosper, in order to create wealth. And there are two things that we must know in order to improve our lives. Do you guys know what those two things are? Do you know what those two things are? Hey, bro, you know what those two things are? Yeah. Alrighty, bro. You know what those two things are? Two things we must know. Okay. Number one is where we are in life, guys. We must have a clear understanding and gain clarity to exactly where we are in life essentially meaning our place in this world. Gain clarity and move forward. And number two, you need to know where you're going. Number one, you need to get clarity of where you are right now. And number two, you need to know where you're going. So you say, oh, okay. If it's so obvious, then why are so many people still stuck? If that's the only two things I need to know to prosper in life, then why can't I get where I'm going? Where you are, you know that. Where you know where you're going. Most people gonna obviously sit there and say, oh, because you don't have any goals, you don't have anything that you blah blah blah. I don't care if, put it like this, not everyone has a goal poster plastered on the wall. Not everyone has bought 20 magazines and decided to do a vision board. But everyone that's walking this planet in their own mind, in their own space of being and thinking, there is something that they essentially want in life. They might not can even explain it to you. But everyone that we encounter on this world actually has goals and there is something that they want. So if you say if that's not the problem, then what is the problem? The problem is where you are. Once again, the problem is where you are. Most people, instead of using where they are as a fuel to the fire, they use it as a hindrance. They use their circumstances in life and they bow down to them. They make excuses and they cry, "Why me?" And some even go as far as to say this is fate from God or the universe. Well, go search, go look in the Bible and copy and paste it and send it to me whenever you see this. Find me the verse that says you're supposed to suffer and you're supposed to go without. You're supposed to live in lack and limitation until you die. Share that with me when you can. Most people let where they are consume their lives so much, either they just, because the analogy of digging a hole, think about it in visual terms. You digging a hole, you digging a hole. Now you in this hole, you looking around, you can't see nothing but dirt. You don't have nothing to stand on to see life. And that's basically like you have nothing, you don't have a foundation in life to live because you're down in this hole. And most people know how to dig down. They can dig down as far as to hell, but they don't have the strength to get back up. They don't have the knowledge to get the dirt back in the hole and stand on it. So they let where they are over consume them. And you say, why does this happen? Why does that happen? And the reason is because of their paradigms. The reason they can't see past where they are is because of their paradigms. And that's one of the overall topics that I discuss on this podcast and with these visuals and in this webinar. People can't seem to get to their goals because they can't see past where they are. They allow their circumstances to over consume their everyday life, which is their paradigm. And you will see later on that your paradigm is what attracts things into your life, essentially. What are paradigms? Paradigms are a multitude of habits. A multitude of habits passed down from one generation to the next generation. Has anyone ever told you, man, you acting just like your uncle? Boy, you look just like your daddy. If that ain't Sally, I don't know who it is. It's because before you even knew your own name, you were brought into this world and wired by DNA. Before you even knew your own name, you were placed in an environment and things went on around you that you could not even control. So everything around you, everywhere you, all of that came into you and created a self being, which is known as your paradigms before you even knew who you were. So that's not something that you can help. Paradigms shape our logic, and paradigms shape our perception in our life. They shape the time, the productivity of our life, the effectiveness, and our ability to make money. The mind is the greatest power in all creation. When you sit back and think, you probably can sit back on some dope inventions in technology. Understand we created those things. Understand we created the computer. And understand the human mind can store more information than any hard drive there is on this world, but you don't have the talent to read a million libraries worth of books. You just don't. It just doesn't happen like that. You have to sleep at some point. You have to do other things in life. You don't. But the human, the mind, the brain is the greatest creation in all creations. It's the greatest power in all creation. I'm going to show you just how powerful it is. Just a quick example. If I said car, you can place yourself in your driver's seat. You see your air freshener hanging. You know where that gas tank is the last time you got out of there. If it's on E, go get you some gas. If there's a rip on your armrest, you could look down beside you no matter where you are right now. You can see that cut right there on that armrest. If I said dog, you can see your dog running up to you. If I said house, you could literally right now stand at your front door, guide yourself all the way through the kitchen, through the house, back to your room. We think in pictures. We're visual. But one picture that most are missing out on is, what does your mind look like? And without an image, you have confusion. And I'm going to ask you that question again. What does your mind look like? You're probably going to sit there and say that it's pink, and it's near squiggly squiggly. No, that's your brain. The tissue that's between your ears right now, that's your brain. I asked, what does your mind look like? And that's one thing we're going to learn here today. Out of confusion comes order. A higher degree of order than which existed prior to the confusion. Let's look at the mind and let's go dive deeper into paradigms, guys. Let's grow. Stay with me. The conscious mind. You have a circle. You have another circle that represents the body. You have your conscious mind. Draw a line from ear to ear. You have your subconscious mind. Going down, you have the body. Your conscious mind. That is your thinking mind. That is your mind that's your intellect. That's your mind for creativity. And that's the educational side of you. Subconscious mind. That's the emotional side. What most people don't know is your heart's job is to pump blood. I'm pretty sure. So, with that being said, the heart is not an organ that you can think with. So, heartache and my heart just won't that's your subconscious mind. Let's get that clear. You have your conscious mind and you have your subconscious mind. Now, with your conscious mind, you can choose whatever you want to choose. You can accept or reject any info, and you can create things. You can originate with your conscious mind. But with your subconscious mind, you must accept all info subjected onto it. You cannot reject any info, and you absolutely cannot tell what's real and what's fake. How do you think snakes get in the grass? A person does a fake favor, you consciously say, "Oh man, it's a great person. They nice." You just told your subconscious that your subconscious it can't defend itself. It doesn't know right from wrong. Whatever you tell it, it's believing. So your heart is involved. You love this person. Oh man, but I thought no, they were who they were. You just had it misconstrued because you consciously told your subconscious that this was a good person, and they weren't. So be careful what you subject to your subconscious mind. Today, we have a conscious mind where we're able to think, we're able to reason and think. You have the radio information coming into your life. You have people coming into your lives. You have the church pouring into your life. You have the news pouring into your mind, but you have the power to reason, and then you have the power to think about those things. But as you see, most people don't. They allow everything that's going on externally to be subjected right into their subconscious mind, their heart, and that's going to create something which I'm going to show you shortly. Why do you do that? Because when you're first born, for the first 4 to 5, I want to say 6, but for the first 4 to 5 years of your life, you don't have a conscious mind. You don't have the power to know the difference from wrong and right. You don't know. You're not saying did. Well, I'll trim the age off. I'll say 1 to 3 because that's where yes and no and those things like that come in. But when you're a kid, when you're an infant, let's say that you're not responsive. All you know is eat, cry when something's wrong. That's the way you communicate with the world. But you're not responsible for nothing that's being subjected to your subconscious mind. You were wired through your DNA. And now you're around this environment, whatever's going on in the environment, whatever they're listening to, whatever they're saying, if it's arguing, if it's good stuff, whatever it is, it's being subjected to your mind. Because as an infant, you don't have a conscious mind. You're not able to reason. So it's understandable why now that has formed a self-image. That has formed a self-image, and that self-image is now your paradigm. And your paradigm is going to give you all the results and attract everything that you seek to obtain in your life. Now, here you are today. As an adult, we are supposed to be conscious. We are to supposed to have reason, supposed to think. But here we are, and that's where the term childish comes in. Still walking around, not reasoning, not thinking, and allowing all exterior outputs to be subjected to the subconscious mind. You have your mind, you have your body, you have your conscious mind, you have your subconscious mind, then drops down to your body. Now, of course, the basics. You have your 5 sensory factors. You see, you hear, you smell, you taste, and you touch. And for most people, that is where they absolutely stop learning. For most people, anything beyond what they can see, what they can hear, what they can smell, what they can taste, and what they can touch, anything beyond that is extracurricular. But for a person that's looking to progress, for a person that's looking to prosper and enhance one's life, you must go beyond the mere five sensory factors. Because those factors are here. They're up like little antennas. Da 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 da. And you feel like you're in touch with everything. But what's really going to start changing life is when you get into it with the six higher intuitive faculties. And that's your perception, your will, your imagination, memory, your intuition, and reason. And once you start strengthening those six higher intuitive factors, which is a completely different lesson that I want you guys to stay with me and dive into with. That'll be probably the next one that we get into. But that's a completely different lesson on its own. And there are ways that I teach and explain how to strengthen those six higher intuitive faculties. And once again, that is your reason, your will, your imagination, your memory, your intuition, and reason. And those are your six higher intuitive factors. Once you get into those, they put you in a higher vibration. And once you're in a higher vibration, you're able to attract the things that are lined up with that frequency. As we read when we first started, when Albert Einstein said, everything is energy. And if you want the basically the goal, your goals are energy. The house, the car, that new job you want is on a frequency, and you're not getting that new job until you start vibrating on the frequency that that job is on, which is the same sense of which is the same instance of calling someone's cell phone or the Bluetooth transmitter in our cars. If the radio is on 95.8 and the Bluetooth transmitter is on 95.3, we're not gonna be able to hear what's playing through the cell phone. That transmitter has to match the radio. That is a frequency. That is the only way that we're gonna hear music playing through these car speakers, is when we match that frequency, because the goal is to hear the music out of the speakers. We have the music. You have the knowledge. This is what I'm giving you right here. You have the knowledge, you have the power. But you must connect the frequencies. And once the frequencies are connected, that's when you're in a vibration to boom. Now you hear the music through your speakers, and music through the speakers essentially is prospering in life when we come to explaining what we're explaining here. So what's going on right here is you're hearing what I'm saying. You're gathering the information, and this is the same thing between the top of the line. That's just the top line. That's gonna be an all matter of fact. That's gonna be an all C student. While the bottom of the line is gonna represent just your all A student. The all C student, he hears what the teacher is saying. He goes in class. He has his little book. He's hearing everything. He takes down notes. He gathers his information. So by the time Friday comes, he thinks he knows it. He ain't studied. He hasn't did the extracurriculars to dive in and learn. He heard what the teacher was talking about. He gathered information of his own. He gathered his perception of it and said, man, I know this. Went for it on the test. He made a C, possibly made a D. Because you don't know anything. You thought you knew. When the real way to do it is to listen. Don't just hear what I'm saying. Listen. Don't just hear the teacher. Listen to the teacher. Once you start listening to the teacher, you take home the material that you just acquired. You take the material home. You consciously, purposely study and indulge in this vehicle. And in this information. And by doing that, what you're going to do is you're going to put yourself in emotional vibration to become emotionally involved in what you are listening to, what you just read. And what that's going to do is going to cause you to act and go out and do things in a certain way. You're going to go to that test and you are going to what? Ace it, getting the green result because you learned it. You didn't hear, gather information, and thought you knew everything. You listened. You got consciously involved, which later became an emotional attachment to what you were learning. Now you are a product of the product, and you have results that can show, and that's your A. So here we are, back with the paradigm. Thought energy, images, thought energy. When energy comes into our being, when energy comes into our brains, the first thing it's gonna do is form an image, and next you're gonna pass that image to the paradigm. When you impress an image upon the subconscious mind, that image dictates your vibration. Then whatever is in harmony with your vibration is attracted into your life. I'm gonna read that again, guys. When you impress an image upon the subconscious mind, that image dictates your vibration. Then whatever is in harmony with your vibration is attracted into your life. So that is what this essentially is all about, guys. Reprogramming our thoughts in order to start progressing in life, prospering in life, and getting towards the life that we truly desire. I didn't say the life I didn't say what you need. I'm talking about what you want. That life, that what you call your dream. That's what we getting at. And what it's a math problem. Thought plus feeling plus action equals results. So we can take those middle two out essentially. Thoughts equal results in our lives. So if you want to change the results in your life, you have to change your thoughts and you have to change the way you think. What are you attracting in your life? Your results will answer that question for you. What do you not want to attract in your life? You got your conscious mind here. You got your subconscious mind. That's your intellect. You're going to have your paradigm in the body once again. The law of attraction responds to your paradigm. Completely, that's a whole nother lesson we'll get into. The law of attraction. But you have to shape your paradigm in a way to you have to shape it around your goals, and you have to shape it around the wants in your life, because everyone is gonna end up at some point having what they need and being able to survive. But if you sit back and tell the world, if you sit back and tell God that all you want are the things, the bare necessities that you need, that's probably all you're gonna have. So once the paradigm is formed and attached to the wants, that's when you can start essentially attracting the things that you actually want in life. Quick little lesson. Anybody watching this, if you want to, you picking it up, take a piece of paper, take a pen, and start here today, here now, moving forward to the life that you truly want. And this is the exercise that you guys are supposed to participate in. It's going to help you with your purpose, your vision, and your goals. I want you to take a piece of paper and start the sentence with, I am so happy now that I. And I want you to write out the picture perfect life that you dream of, the life that you yearn. If everything could go absolutely perfect the way you want it, truly design the dream life you want to and put it on paper.